I used to be a fix-it kind of person. If something was broken, I'd stay up all night figuring out how to make it whole again. Relationships, home repairs, parenting mistakes, you name it. I tried to patch it. But nothing prepared me for the night my daughter disappeared. 4 years ago, we had a fight. A stupid, fiery argument that started over something small and spiraled into something ugly. I said things I wish I could unsay, and she, 17 at the time, stormed out of the house and never came back. At first, I thought she was just cooling off, maybe staying with a friend. But as hours turned to days and no one heard from her, not even her best friend or her boyfriend, I knew something was wrong. We filed a missing person report the second the police would allow it. We combed through her social media, her texts, everything. Her phone pinged once about 40 miles away from our house, and then, nothing. Gone. Like she'd just evaporated. My wife fell into a deep depression. She blamed me. I blame myself too, honestly. The words I said that night, words meant to scare her into obedience, not push her away forever, echoed in my head for years. I kept her room exactly the way she left it. I couldn't bring myself to change a single thing. Not the stack of unread books by her bed. Not the clothes still warm with her scent. The police said there was no sign of foul play. No clear reason to suspect a crime. So we were left in a limbo where everything hurt, and nothing made sense. For 4 years, there was no update. No tips. No leads. Every phone call jolted my heart. Every time the doorbell rang, I prayed it was her. And then, last week, something happened. I got a text from her number. All it said was, "I'm sorry." I stared at my phone for a solid 5 minutes, barely breathing. "I'm sorry." 2 words. From a number that had been dead for 4 years. A number the police said had gone inactive. One that stopped pinging after that single tower hit outside town, like she'd vanished off the face of the earth. I didn't know what to think. My hands were shaking so hard I nearly dropped the phone. My first instinct was that it had to be a cruel prank. Someone playing games with a grieving father. But my second thought, the louder one, was maybe, just maybe, it was her. I texted back immediately. "Is this you? Please tell me where you are." No response. I sent 3 more messages. Then I tried calling. Straight to voicemail. I don't remember much about the next 10 minutes. Only that I was pacing, sweating, my heart punching through my chest. I was home alone. My wife was at her sister's. I didn't know whether to call the police or wait for another message. I chose to wait. 2 hours passed. Nothing. Then another text came through. "It's not what you think." What the hell did that mean? I wrote back again, trying not to sound frantic. "Please, I don't care what happened. I just want to talk to you. Are you safe?" No reply. By then, I couldn't sit still anymore. I drove to the police station and showed them the messages. They logged the number again, but said unless I received a location or threat, there wasn't much they could do. Same old song. Same old helplessness. But something had changed. I wasn't just waiting in the dark anymore. Someone was out there. Someone had her phone. And they wanted me to know something. The text stopped for 2 days after that. I barely slept, checking my phone every 5 minutes like a man possessed. My wife noticed something was off as soon as she came home. I didn't tell her right away, partly because I didn't want to get her hopes up. Mostly because I wasn't sure if I was being played. On the 3rd day, the next message came in. "I can tell you where she is, but you need to promise not to call the police." It felt like ice water poured down my back. I didn't answer right away. My gut was a mess. Part of me screamed trap. The other part, the part still clinging to that last thread of fatherly hope, wanted to believe. I sat on the edge of our bed, the room silent except for the buzzing thoughts in my head. After a few deep breaths, I texted back. "Just tell me, is she alive?" The response came within seconds. "Yes." And just like that, I broke. Tears I didn't even feel coming hit my cheeks hard. I sat there, clutching the phone like it might slip away, like the moment would vanish if I let go. I typed again. "Is she okay? Is she in danger?" No reply. I waited another hour, heart pounding, reading that one word over and over. Yes. I don't know how long I stared at that screen, but eventually, another message came. She doesn't want to come home, but she wants you to stop blaming yourself. That's when I lost it. Because it had to be her. No one else would know. No one else would know that the guilt had eaten me alive. That every night I sat in her room replaying that last conversation, wishing I had said anything different. I asked, "Can I talk to her? Please." They responded, "Not yet, but maybe soon. She's not ready." I felt like I was standing on a bridge with no railing. The person holding the answers was dangling them just out of reach, one word at a time. I didn't know who was texting me. I didn't know where my daughter was. But for the first time in 4 years, I had something I thought I'd lost forever: hope. I couldn't sit on my hands anymore. After the last message, I told myself I'd respect her wishes and wait. But every second that passed just made the silence heavier. I was driving myself insane, rereading the text, analyzing the phrasing, the punctuation, the timing, wondering if it really was her on the other end, or someone pretending to be. So I did the one thing she asked me not to do. I traced the number. I didn't go to the police. I knew what they'd say. Be patient. Let us handle it. But 4 years of waiting taught me that no one was going to save my daughter but me. I called in a favor from a friend of mine, Jake. He used to work in cybersecurity and now runs his own little tech-for-hire business. He owed me from way back. I didn't tell him much, just that it was important. Personal. He got back to me within a day. Here's the thing. The number didn't belong to any carrier. It was a VoIP line, one of those free numbers people use when they don't want to be tracked. Registered through some random app. No name, no address, nothing concrete. But the last IP address associated with it, that was something. It came from a town 2 states over. Population under 10,000. One grocery store, one gas station. Definitely not somewhere you'd go unless you were hiding. I didn't tell my wife. I just told her I needed a few days to clear my head and left early the next morning. It was a 6-hour drive. I played her favorite playlist on the way. Songs I used to hear blasting from her room when she was supposed to be doing homework. And the whole time, I kept thinking, what if this is it? What if she's really here? The town felt like a time capsule. Quiet. Dusty. Everyone looked like they knew everyone else. I stopped at a diner under the pretense of grabbing lunch, but really just to ask around. Showed her picture to the waitress, a couple locals. Nothing. Either no one had seen her, or no one wanted to talk. I stayed overnight at a roadside motel. That night I got another message. "You're not supposed to be here." I froze. They knew. Before I could respond, another one came through. "You promised." Then one more. "Please don't ruin this." That last one felt different. Not a threat. Not angry. Just scared. I sat in the dark holding my phone, realizing something I hadn't let myself believe until right then. It was her, and she didn't want to be found. I didn't sleep that night. I just sat by the window, staring at the empty parking lot, watching headlights flicker past every now and then. My mind wouldn't stop replaying those messages, especially the last one. Please don't ruin this. If it really was her, what was she so afraid I'd ruin? At sunrise, I went for a walk through the town. It was small enough that you could cross it in 20 minutes. There was a hardware store, a tiny park, and a single church that looked older than the rest of the buildings combined. The kind of place where everyone probably knew everyone's secrets. I didn't know what I was looking for until I saw it. Across from the church was a community board, a faded cork wall covered in flyers for bake sales and missing pets. But tucked near the bottom was a printed notice that made my stomach twist. It said, "Harvest Renewal Program for those starting over." No address, just a phone number and a single line underneath. "Leave your old life behind. Begin again." That phrase hit me like a punch. My daughter used to say that exact thing when she was younger. Every time we argued about her wanting to move out early or travel, she'd say, "Dad, one day I'm just going to start over." It became her thing, half joke, half dream. I called the number, straight to voicemail. That's when I started noticing the signs. People around town with the same little silver pendant around their neck, a teardrop shape with a sun etched inside. The waitress had one. So did the woman sweeping the church steps. I asked casually what the pendant meant, but she just smiled and said, "It's part of our renewal." That was all she'd say. By evening, I went back to my motel and started searching online for anything about the Harvest Renewal Program. Nothing official came up, just a few vague references on old forums. But one name kept popping up in connection to it: Pastor Matthew. Around 9 p.m., I got another text. "You shouldn't have come here." This time I replied immediately, "I just want to see you. Please. I'm not angry." The typing bubbles appeared, then vanished, then appeared again. Finally, one message came through: "Go to the church tomorrow at noon. Come alone." And that was it. I sat there for hours afterward, my chest tight, my mind racing. Because as much as I wanted to believe this was my daughter reaching out, deep down, I had a sinking feeling, like I was walking straight into something I didn't understand. The next day, I got to the church early. It was old. Stone steps chipped with age, wooden doors with iron handles that groaned when I pulled them open. Inside, it smelled like incense and something sweet, like lavender and burnt sugar. There were maybe a dozen pews, a small altar, and stained glass windows that threw pale colors across the floor. Empty, quiet, still. I sat in the second row. My heart was racing so hard I could barely keep still. Every creak from the building felt like a footstep. Every breath felt too loud. Noon came. Then 5 minutes passed. 10. I kept checking the door, waiting. Then a man stepped out from the back. Tall, clean-shaven, gray suit, maybe late 40s. He looked like someone who smiled a lot, but didn't now. He walked with calm, deliberate steps and stood near the altar without saying a word. I didn't need him to introduce himself. I already knew. Pastor Matthew. He looked at me for a long moment and then said softly, "You shouldn't have come." I asked him if my daughter was here. Told him I didn't want to cause trouble. I just needed to see her. Just once. To know she was okay. That was all. He said, "She came to us broken, scared, hurt. We helped her become whole again." I asked where she was. He just looked down at the floor. "She's safe," he said, "but she doesn't want to see you." I didn't believe him. I said if she really felt that way, she could tell me herself. I begged him, told him she texted me, that she asked me to come. He shook his head. "She changed her mind. You being here threatens her healing." I stood up. I told him I wasn't leaving without answers. I needed to hear it from her, not him. He didn't raise his voice. He just stepped closer and said, "You lost your daughter a long time ago. This," he gestured around the church, "this is her home now." Then he pulled something from his pocket. A small silver pendant. The same teardrop shape I'd seen around town. "She left this behind. Said to give it to you." He held it out, and my hands trembled as I took it. On the back, scratched in tiny, uneven letters, were 4 words: "I'm okay. Let go." I left the church in a fog. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just walked back to my car and sat there with the pendant in my hand, knowing the message was real. It was her handwriting. I recognized it immediately. She was alive. She didn't want to come back. And worst of all, she meant it. I drove around for hours that afternoon, not heading anywhere, just circling the same few streets over and over again, like a ghost looking for a way back into the world. I kept replaying what Pastor Matthew had said. "She doesn't want to see you." But what tore me apart wasn't his words. It was the pendant, that shaky, familiar handwriting. She meant every letter of it. But how could I accept that? After 4 years of silence? After countless sleepless nights, false leads, grief counselors, police updates that went nowhere? I had to know more. I was parked near the church when I saw her. Not my daughter, someone else. A girl, maybe 19 or 20, walking out from the side of the church, carrying a box of flyers. Her long brown hair was tied back in a braid. She looked peaceful. Too peaceful. But hanging around her neck was the same silver pendant. I stayed in my car and followed her from a distance. I know how that sounds. Creepy. Desperate. Maybe it was. but I needed to understand what this place really was, what it had done to my daughter. She walked about 5 blocks to a modest house just outside the main road. Yellow siding, fenced yard. A small sign near the porch said, "Harvest Home, Shared Living." I watched her go inside. 2 other people were in the yard, both wearing the same pendant. One was gardening, another was sitting cross-legged with a small radio, eyes closed, like he was meditating. The whole place radiated peace. Too much peace, like something was being carefully managed. I parked down the street and sat there until dusk, just watching. I kept telling myself if she came out, if she was there, I'd leave. I just needed to see her. Just once. But she never did. Instead, around 7 p.m., the front door opened again, and Pastor Matthew stepped out. He wasn't alone. A woman followed behind him. Blonde, maybe mid-30s, pale, anxious. Her movements were slow, uncertain, like she was being led. She didn't speak. He put a hand gently on her back and helped her into a car. And I swear, as he pulled away, he looked straight at me, like he knew I was there the whole time. And suddenly, I had the sickest feeling in my chest. Not fear, not anger. Something worse. Guilt. Because whatever this place really was, I was starting to wonder if I'd dragged my daughter away from one kind of pain, just to push her into another. It happened 2 weeks later. I'd already gone home. Not by choice. I had to. My wife was starting to suspect something. I didn't tell her everything. I couldn't. How do you explain to the woman who's been mourning next to you for 4 years that your daughter is alive and doesn't want either of us anymore? I lied. Told her I'd followed a false lead and it didn't pan out. That was partially true. But every night after that, I couldn't sleep. I kept looking at the pendant, rereading those texts, turning them over in my head like puzzle pieces that refused to fit. Part of me knew I should stop, respect her wishes, let her go. But I couldn't. And then I got another message. Just one sentence. She wants to meet. No name, no details. Just a location. A coffee shop 2 towns over from that church. Nothing fancy. Not even a name I recognized. Just coordinates. I didn't tell anyone I was going. When I arrived, I sat in the corner booth, my back to the window, heart pounding so loud I thought people could hear it. I didn't even order anything. I just waited. She walked in 20 minutes later. Older, thinner. Her hair had been cut shorter, darker now. She wore plain clothes, jeans, long-sleeved shirt, that same silver pendant around her neck. But the second I saw her eyes, I knew it was her. My little girl. She sat across from me without saying a word at first. Just stared. And I stared back, drinking in every detail, every difference, every familiar flicker in her face. Her hands fidgeted, pulling at the edge of her sleeve the way she used to when she was nervous as a kid. She spoke first. "You shouldn't have come." Her voice was flat, not angry, not cold, just tired. I told her I was sorry, that I didn't come to take her back, that I just wanted to know she was okay. And if she wanted me to disappear after that, I would. She nodded slowly, looked down at the table. "I'm safe," she said. "That's all you need to know." I asked her why. Why she left. Why she never called. Why she didn't tell us she was alive. She didn't answer for a long time. Then she said something I wasn't expecting. "I didn't leave because I hated you. I left because I hated myself when I was with you." That shattered something in me. She wasn't trying to be cruel. It wasn't even an accusation. It was a confession, like she'd carried those words for years and didn't know where else to put them. She told me she was lost, broken. Back then, she didn't know who she was. Everything we wanted for her felt like a costume she didn't fit into. And one day, she just walked away and found people who didn't ask her to be anyone else. I asked if those people, Pastor Matthew, the Harvest Renewal folks, had hurt her. If she was being controlled, manipulated, brainwashed. She smiled. Not warmly, almost sadly. "They saved me," she said, "even if you'll never believe it." I asked if she missed us, if she ever thought about coming back. She looked me in the eyes then, for the first time. "I think about it every day," she said. But I won't come back. I can't. I didn't beg. I didn't cry. I just nodded and told her that I loved her. That no matter where she was, or what she believed, or who she'd become, that part would never change. Then she reached into her pocket and slid something across the table. A photograph. Her, standing in a field. Smiling, eyes closed, arms stretched toward the sun. She looked peaceful, like the version of herself I never got to meet. I want you to keep this, she said, so you know I'm okay. And then she stood up, without hugging me, without saying goodbye, and walked out the door. I haven't heard from her since. Not a single message. Not even a ghost ping from that number. My wife still asks if I ever think she's out there. I just nod. I don't know if I'll ever see her again. But I saw her once. She was alive. She was free. And that has to be enough. Update, 6 months later. I still keep the pendant in my desk drawer. The photo's in a frame, but only I know where it is. My wife still doesn't know the full truth. I don't think she could handle it. Sometimes I wonder if I made it worse by finding her. If I reopened a door she was trying to keep shut. But other times, when it's quiet at night and the house feels too big, I'm grateful. Grateful for that booth, that photo, that 5 minutes of closure. Even if it broke me. Even if it never comes again.